In the previous class, we have learned about the structure of human heart, and in this class, we will be discussing about the composition of human blood. In an average-sized individual, the amount of blood is about 5 to 6 liters, and this accounts to about 8% of the total body weight of the individual. In this picture, you can see the color difference of oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. The oxygenated blood is scarlet red in color, whereas the deoxygenated blood is deep red in color. Then the blood is highly viscous. It is about 5 to 6 times more viscous than water, and it is an opaque liquid. Then the pH of the blood is in the alkaline range, that is, it is slightly alkaline. The pH is about 7.3 to 7.5. Now coming to the functions of the blood. The functions of the blood can be broadly classified or categorized into three, that is transportation, regulation and protection. First, let us see transportation. Blood is transporting the nutrients as well as oxygen, then waste products like carbon dioxide, urea, uric acid, and also the hormones. So, the blood is a medium for the transportation of all these materials. Then, another important function of blood is osmoregulation. It is concerned with the regulation of water content in the body, then ions and other solutes. So the ionic concentration as well as the solute concentration and the amount of water that is retained in the body fluids, that is called osmoregulation, and blood plays an important role in osmoregulation. Then another function of blood is regulation of pH. Then the blood has an ability of buffering. It can act as there are proteins in the blood which can act both like an acid as well as a base, and because of this buffering ability, the blood is playing an important role in the regulation of pH. Then the blood is mainly composed of water, and this helps in the regulation and equalization of temperature throughout the body. So the blood plays an important role in temperature regulation or thermoregulation also. Then another function of blood is protection. You know that different microorganisms, pathogenic microorganisms are entering into our body, and all these microorganisms can cause, some of these microorganisms can cause diseases. That is why they are called pathogenic microorganisms. So our body has to be protected against these pathogenic microorganisms, and this defensive function is done by the antibiotics, histamines and the cellular elements of the immune system. And these elements in the immune system are actually present in the blood, and blood is carrying the agents of immune system. Then during accidents or injuries, there can be severe blood loss or hemorrhage, and this can result in the loss of body fluid. But because of the ability of the blood to undergo clotting when there is an injury, this fluid loss from the body is prevented, and this is called hemostasis. So that is because of the clotting ability of the blood. Now, when we speak about composition of blood, we can see that when the blood is taken from the body of an individual, it appears to be a homogeneous fluid. It appears to be a homogeneous fluid. Here in this picture, you can see the blood sample that is taken in this tube. It is in red color throughout. So it appears to be a homogeneous fluid, but actually it is not homogeneous. When we add an anticoagulant into this blood, and if it is subjected to centrifugation, the blood will separate into a liquid portion and a solid portion. The upper liquid portion, which is pale yellow in color, that is obtained after centrifugation, it is called the plasma, and the plasma accounts to about 55% of the total volume of the blood. And the solid portion of the blood, it is comprised of blood cells and the cell fragments. The blood is having different cells like RBCs, WBCs and platelets. All these blood cells as well as the cell fragments, the broken cells, the worn out cells, all these together form the formed elements of the blood, which forms the solid portion of the blood. And the amount of this formed elements is about 45% of the total volume of the blood. And the relative volume of formed elements in the blood is called packed cell volume or hematocrit. In short, it is called PCV. Now coming to the composition and functions of plasma, I told that the major element or the major component of the blood is the water. It is about the 90 to 92% of the blood or the plasma is formed of water, and this high water content of the plasma, that is actually responsible for the regulation of body temperature. You know that the water has a high heat carrying capacity. The specific heat of water is very high, so it is having a high heat carrying capacity, and this helps in the regulation of body temperature. And water is also acting like a solvent or a suspending medium for various materials in the blood. You know that different formed elements are present in the blood, as well as different hormones, different agents of the immune system, that is the immunoglobulins, antibodies, all these elements, the nutrients, respiratory gases, all these ingredients, all these components are actually transported by water in the dissolved form. So water is acting like a solvent or a suspending medium for different materials in the blood. Then the plasma also contains plasma proteins. 7 to 8% of the plasma protein of the plasma is comprised of proteins, and there are 4 different types of proteins in the plasma. This includes the serum albumin, serum globulin, then lipoproteins and fibrinogen. We will see about the functions of this these different plasma proteins in the next slide. Then the plasma also contains 0.9% of inorganic salts, and this includes the salts of sodium, potassium, calcium and magnesium. Among these salts, sodium salts have the highest concentration, and this includes sodium chloride, sodium carbonate and sodium hydrogen phosphate. In addition to these inorganic salts, the plasma also contains traces of iron, copper and iodine. And the inorganic salts or the ions, they help in the maintenance of proper osmotic pressure and pH of blood. What is the purpose of maintaining this osmotic pressure? You know that the blood is carrying the respiratory gases, blood is carrying the nutrients, and the nutrients are to be transported to the cells, and the cells have to receive the nutrients, and the waste products are to be received by the blood from these tissues. So the transport of these nutrients or the exchange of nutrients and waste materials between the tissues and the blood is actually dependent upon the concentration of solutes on either side, that is concentration of solutes inside the cell as well as the concentration of solutes in the blood. So the maintenance of proper osmotic pressure is very much essential for the transportation of nutrients or the exchange of nutrients and waste materials between the blood and the tissues. So that is that function is done by the blood, and the inorganic salts play an important role in maintaining the proper osmotic pressure as well as the pH of the blood. Then among these inorganic salts, calcium is very important for clotting. It is a clotting factor. I have told that the clotting ability of the blood is actually responsible for the maintenance of hemostasis, that is maintaining a constant blood volume in the body. And the clotting factor, calcium, is an important clotting factor which is very essential for the clotting of blood when there is an injury. Then blood contains organic materials other than plasma proteins. Plasma proteins are also organic materials, and the amount of plasma proteins is about 7 to 8%, I have already told. And in addition to plasma proteins, the blood also contains other organic materials which includes enzymes, hormones, vitamins, glucose, lipids, amino acids, nitrogenous wastes, etc. And the blood also contains dissolved gases, that is oxygen, carbon dioxide, and some amount of nitrogen. The functions of plasma proteins. The main function of plasma protein is the maintenance of osmotic pressure for the exchange of materials between blood and tissue fluids. I have already told the importance of maintaining the osmotic pressure. The various components in the blood, that is the plasma proteins as well as the inorganic salts, they play an important role in maintaining the osmotic pressure. Then the plasma proteins are, I have told that the blood is about more viscous than water, and this viscosity of the blood is actually due to the presence of the plasma proteins, and this viscosity is very essential for the maintenance of blood. So the blood is able to move forward through the blood vessels because of this blood pressure. We will see about the importance of blood pressure in the later classes. So the maintenance of blood pressure is very essential for the movement of blood through the blood vessels, and this blood pressure is due to the viscosity of the blood, and this viscosity is contributed by the plasma proteins. Then I have told that the plasma proteins, they can act both like acids and bases, so they have a buffering capacity, and this buffering capacity of these plasma proteins is helping in the regulation of pH of body fluids. Then the plasma proteins include lipoproteins. The lipoproteins, they help in the transport of fats and fat soluble vitamins, hormones, etc. Then the gamma globulins. The plasma proteins include gamma globulins, and these gamma globulins are actually antibodies, and these antibodies help in defending our body against pathogens. Then the blood plasma contains another protein called fibrinogen, and fibrinogen is actually present in the blood in the dissolved form, and when there is an injury, this fibrinogen is converted to the insoluble form, that is the fibrin threads, and this fibrin threads form the clot and prevents the blood loss from the body. So the plasma proteins help in maintaining the hemostasis by making the blood forming a clot when there is an injury. Then so that is about the liquid portion of the blood, that is the plasma, which forms about 55% of the total volume of the blood.